Have you ever gotten that RoyalUp email from Royal Caribbean and wondered, is it actually worth bidding for a better cabin? Maybe you've booked an interior room and you're dreaming about a balcony. Maybe you've got a balcony already and you're wondering if a junior suite is worth a few $100s more. Or maybe you're just asking the biggest question of all, how much should I actually bid? Today, I'm going to share my personal experience with RoyalUp, the upgrades I've won, what I bid, and my honest opinion about whether these upgrades are really worth the extra money. Let's get started. RoyalUp is Royal Caribbean's cabin upgrade bidding program. After you've booked your cruise, Royal Caribbean may send you an invitation to bid on a higher category stateroom. Depending on your ship and sailing, you might see opportunities to bid on everything from ocean view rooms to a balcony to a junior suite or even higher suite categories. The important thing to understand is that RoyalUp is not guaranteed. You can place a bid and never get an upgrade. You can place a low bid and get lucky. Or you can place a strong bid and still not get selected. Everything depends on availability and how many other guests are bidding for the same cabins. One thing that confuses many people is that Royal Caribbean shows a minimum bid amount. Sometimes those minimum bids seem very reasonable, and other times they can be several $100s per person. Remember, these bids are generally charged for the first 2 guests in the room. So if the minimum bid is $250 per person, you're really talking about a $500 upgrade. That's why it's important to think carefully about whether the upgrade is actually worth it to you. Now let's talk about my personal experience. I've successfully won RoyalUp upgrades several times. I've gone from an ocean view cabin to a balcony, I've gone from a balcony to an extended balcony, and I've gone from a balcony to a junior suite. In each of those situations, I generally bid only a little above the minimum amount. My successful bids have ranged from roughly $125 per person to around $400 per person for the junior suite upgrade. Now, before everybody rushes off and starts bidding just above the minimum, I want to make something very clear. This does not mean that bidding only slightly above the minimum is some secret strategy. No one outside Royal Caribbean knows exactly how RoyalUp works. No one knows exactly how the bids are ranked, how much other passengers are bidding, or how many cabins are actually available. All I can tell you is what worked for me. In my experience, paying significantly more than the minimum has never seemed necessary, but every sailing is different. Let's talk about which upgrades I personally think provide the most value. For me, the biggest upgrade by far is moving from an ocean view cabin to a balcony. That changes the entire experience. You get a private outdoor space, fresh air, ocean views, a place to relax in the morning with coffee or unwind in the evening. If you spend time on your balcony, that can be a very meaningful upgrade. Now, what about moving from a balcony to a junior suite? This is where things get a little bit more subjective. Junior suites are great. You get a larger room, a larger bathroom, more storage space, an espresso machine in your room, priority boarding benefits, and access to the suites line. And on many ships, access to Coastal Kitchen, which is one of Royal Caribbean's best dining venues. Another perk that we really enjoy is the twice daily stateroom service. It's nice to leave your room in the morning, come back later, and find everything refreshed before getting ready for dinner. But are those perks worth $500, $800, or even $1,000 more for a couple? Spending a few $100s for a suite upgrade feels different when you didn't pay thousands of dollars for the original cruise fare. But if I had already paid full price for a balcony cabin, I would think much harder before spending another $500 to $1,000 on a suite upgrade. Before I end this video, I want to share what I think is the most important piece of advice about RoyalUp. Book a stateroom that you will already be happy with. If you know you're going to be disappointed without a balcony, book a balcony. If you know you need the extra space of a junior suite, book the suite. If having access to Coastal Kitchen, priority boarding, or suite benefits is important to your vacation, don't rely on RoyalUp to make that happen. Book the room you actually want. RoyalUp should be viewed as a bonus, not a plan. One of the biggest mistakes that I hear about people making is booking the cheapest cabin they can and then counting on RoyalUp to get them into a balcony or suite. The reality is that many RoyalUp bids are never accepted. If your bid isn't selected, you'll be cruising in the room you originally booked, and honestly, that's okay. I've stayed in all of these cabin types, and I've had a fantastic cruise in every one of them. Most people are not spending much time in their stateroom. You're out exploring ports. You're enjoying the shows, you're eating, you're hanging out on the deck, you're making memories with your family and friends. The room is important, but it isn't the vacation. Now, if you are cruising to Alaska, Norway, or somewhere with incredible scenery, I can absolutely make an argument for spending a bit more on a balcony. Being able to sit outside and watch glaciers, mountains, waterfalls, and incredible scenery from your own room can be amazing. But on many cruises, especially Caribbean cruises, I don't think a more expensive room automatically means a better vacation. For us, RoyalUp has been a fun opportunity to occasionally enjoy a nicer room without paying the full retail price. But if none of those upgrades had happened, we still would have had a great cruise. That's why I always recommend booking a room you'll already be happy with and then let RoyalUp be a pleasant surprise if it works out. If it gets accepted, fantastic. If it doesn't, you're still going on a cruise. If you've ever won a RoyalUp bid, let us know in the comments what cabin you started with, what you got upgraded to, and how much you bid. We'd love to compare experiences and help future cruisers. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Travel with Tony and Nick for more cruise tips, travel guides, ship reviews, and honest opinions from our adventures around the world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.